No, there ain't no stopping us. Fly without boarding pass. Can't catch me, I'll be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Yeah, I know you are. Flying up, shining star. Time to show who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars. I said I'm moving too far. Get it fast. Looking at shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Said I might be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had flat like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We are hating because you want. Shining like it's neon. Rock like it's a Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate with my strategy. When that's enough, then I'll just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate with my strategy. When that's enough, then shoot, shoot, shoot. Yeah, shoot, shoot. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Shoot, shoot. Shooting stars, shooting stars, shooting stars, shooting stars. Good morning, good day to everyone out there in radio YouTube land. I hope that actually played this time. Trying to figure out how to work all these wonderful little gadgets here with YouTube and give me several days and a lot of hours and some sleepless nights, but I believe that I have this under control now to a certain extent. Hopefully you got to see the video. Hopefully you got to see or hear the audio, and hopefully it didn't blow you out of your seat like that one I did the other night. We're trying to figure out how in the world to get this thing going, but this is frustrating to say the very least. I've got the chat over here so that I can see what y'all have to say. Okay, well, it's freezing up a little bit, and I can't do much about that. That's a buffering issue, and my bandwidth is what it is. So, yeah, well, yeah. Not necessarily my choice of music either, but it's only 3 minutes long. Surely to goodness you can stand it for 3 minutes. Oh, gee, I'm lucky to just have been able to figure out how in the world to get the intro put together. I put a few of them together, so I don't know, maybe something else that I play in a future one will suit you better. Oh my goodness. Well, let's see. I had some topics that I wanted to talk to people about, and I think the one that I'm going to talk about today is prepping.
And the reason that I've come up with that one is because President Obama apparently come out in a speech the other day and said that everybody needs to be prepping. And I just found that fascinating, considering that he signed an executive order or something here a while back saying that we're not supposed to prep and that prepping's against the law and we can't be hoarders. And so I'm getting mixed signals. I don't understand this. And where I'm getting my information from is actually this showed up on InfoWars. And I found it on InfoWars because I went to the Drudge Report this morning, was digging around to see what they were talking about. And they had this up there. And so I went over to the InfoWars site, and it seems that Barack Obama warns Americans to be prepared for a disaster. And the quote is, one of the things that we have learned over the course of the last 7.5 years is that government plays a vital role, but it is every citizen's responsibility to be prepared for a disaster. That means taking proactive steps like having an evacuation plan, having a fully stocked disaster supply kit. If your local authorities ask you to evacuate, you have to do it. Don't wait. Fascinating. So I don't know which one of his speeches that we're actually supposed to believe or what we're really supposed to go by, but I think I'd rather be prepared than not be prepared. I believe that was the old Girl Scout motto, that you should always be prepared. So I don't know exactly what he's thinking is going to happen, if he's talking about maybe there's going to be a hurricane or an earthquake, or maybe he's trying to warn us about the inevitable financial collapse that we're going to go through. The whole world's going through it. We're not going to be exempt. I don't know. I mean, I wish he'd just, say what's on his mind. Just tell us. Don't leave everybody in the dark wondering what in the world's going on. We're just supposed to have our bags packed, ready to go out the door. Goodness. So we've talked a little bit on some of the other shows about prepping and things that you need to do and bugging out and having your backpack and all that sort of thing. And you really need to put some thought into this. You need to think about what all you're going to need if you have to go. I'm not planning to go myself. I think I'm going to just bunk up and load up and stay put. I guess, if they drag me out kicking and screaming, I'll have to go, but they'll probably have to shoot me in the process because I'm going to put up quite a fight. But you should have a plan in case something goes wrong, that you do need to leave for some reason. I mean, if fire breaks out or something happens that you got to get out of the house, you need a plan. And if you've got youngins, you need to have them prepared. They need to know what the plan is. They need to know where they need to go and what they need to do if something goes wrong, how to escape the house and all that. But you ought to have some provisions put together. You need some kind of a backpack. You might need some kind of sleeping bag. You're probably going to need a lighter in case you have to try to light a fire to get warm or cook some kind of food. Some kind of a cooking utensil might not be a bad idea. Maybe a small iron skillet or maybe a metal coffee pot or something of that nature where you can heat up some water. You need to have some kind of a water filter so that you can filter water. Just sit and think about, if I was out camping, or shoot, just get in your vehicle and go to a state park for the weekend. What are you going to need? You're going to need some kind of a tent. You're going to need some way to cover up, get warm. You're going to need something to get you out of the rain, maybe a tarp of some sort. So these are things to think about if you're going to be in some kind of disaster situation that you need to get out and save yourself. Some kind of a cutting utensil where you could cut some limbs or something to help make your little shelter if you didn't have some sort of a tent to pop up. These are all just common sense things that you need to think about. Common sense is something that we are sorely lacking in this day and age. We've been dependent for so long, and we've been dumbed down with the fluoride in the water and the public school system. Be dependent. People used to run into the government to get their food stamps and get their federal assistance. Well, those things are going to be a thing of the past for long. I do believe. So you might be wanting to think about how you're going to barter and how you're going to trade to get things that you need in order to be able to survive and keep your family alive if you have a family. So being in how to take care of yourself, how to provide safety for yourself if somebody is going to attack you and take what you got, because if push comes to shove in all this mess, you're going to need to know how to protect yourself and have some means of protecting yourself, whether it is a gun or whether you got a machete, a knife, or something, a club. But bringing a knife to gunfight's not necessarily a real good idea. You're liable to get whooped that way real fast. But they've said that the Venezuela crisis is liable to come to America. And if that happens, we are in dire straits. And if you haven't watched what's going on with Venezuela, you probably need to tune into that, watch a little bit of it on the news, well, on the alternate news. There's a lot of videos about it on YouTube. You're not going to see it in the mainstream media. Those folks down there are having an awful time and a lot of people dying. So I don't want to bring a lot of gloom and doom and sadness to the video, but I do want to make people aware that there are things going on that you're not going to see in the mainstream media. They're not going to warn you about what's happening. Mainstream media is owned by the corporations, and they're going to tell you what they want you to know, and they don't want you to know that there's going to be anything bad happen. Be prepared. So I know we don't all like InfoWars, but they were the ones that actually put the article up, and I do give credit where credit is due. I may not like everything they do, and I may not like what some of them on there stand for, but news that tells you the truth is news that tells you the truth, and you got to respect it. So I've been kind of watching the chat here. I got it popped out and looking, and I see some faces out there. BRT's on, and WeTree's on, and I think Jay was on. I thought she was back here someplace, or maybe not. Maybe she didn't make it. But I didn't want to just be on here all day, but I did want to try to do a video and see if I could get the that daggone intro to play. You wouldn't believe what I went through the other night. I mean, I must have gone through 12 takes on private just trying to figure out how to get that thing to play. It was first one problem, then another, and I get one fixed and 3 more pop up. It was a very interesting experience, to say the least, and probably not the end of all my struggles with this, but I did get that far, and I'm still trying to figure some things out. I've got to figure out how to get people invited onto the show. I thought I knew where the invite tag was, but now I've lost track of where that would be, so I got to start over with that one. But I'm learning as time goes on, and hopefully I'll get better with how I coordinate all this. And I don't think y'all want me to just stay on here and yammer for hours on end and bore you half to death. But just hang in with me while I'm learning how to do this thing, and we'll get her figured out. Maybe I could bring some information to the table that'll be of interest to you. I've got some people that I've invited to be guests on the show when I figure out how the whole thing works, and I believe that if I can get them on, between me and them, you will at least be entertained, if not informed on things. We'll bring some of the stuff that's going on in the good old days. I used to do animal swap meets when I lived on the farm. I took all kinds of critters with me to the swap meets. It was like a flea market, but only done with animals. And boy, me and some of my friends from the swap meet days, we've got some stories we could tell on things that went on. And I think you'd be amazed at some of the things that we pulled and lived through. Yeah, we had some really good experiences with some of that stuff. And I've lived many years and gone through an awful lot of turmoil and a lot of good times too. And maybe I can bring a little entertainment and a little comedy, levity to some of the tragic things that seem to be facing us in these days. So before my hair goes any flatter, I had real big hair a while ago. I mowed the yard and I washed my hair and used the curling iron on it, and I had great big hair, but it's hotter than two rats a wrestling in a wool sock here today. And so by the minute, my hair just seems to be going flatter and flatter. So before it flattens clear out and falls out in the floor, I think I'll get off of here and let y'all have a good afternoon or a wonderful Friday. Maybe I'll try to get back on over the weekend and bring something to you. Have a good day.